Welcome back, guys. Yeah, so we're back. We're so back. All right. Gardening, I'm glad you liked the intro. I'm glad you liked it. I've been thinking of doing something. We had an intro, but I kind of thought that the voiceover on the intro wasn't exactly accurate to what we were trying to do. Okay, so I hope the audio is good. We haven't streamed in a couple of days. We didn't stream on Friday and we didn't stream last night. I had to take a break for a few reasons, but we're back. All right, Hickox, great to see you in the chat. Okay, now my effects are not working for some reason. Oh no. Okay, so hang on. I need to be sure. There it is. Okay. So we're going to be jumping right into the news. Oops, hold on. I just realized that I switched out. Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to be jumping into the news, and some of the things that we're going to be looking at would cover a few things that we missed over the weekend. So there have been several attacks in New York, Seattle. There was an attack in Germany, and then there was one more attack this morning in France. We're going to see if we can cover all of that. Now, if we can't cover all of it within the hour, I'm going to be creating bonus videos to cover the rest of the stories. We're going to try to keep this compact and concise. Now, keep your comments coming, and we're going to jump right in. So let's start with New York. Surveillance video captured a fight breaking out outside a bodega in the Bronx on Saturday before a stray bullet struck a 12-year-old boy. This is a tragic story. And while I was thinking about the live stream a few minutes back leading up to going live, I thought to myself, there's going to be people who are going to say, let's not make this political. But I'm sorry, does this have to do with law enforcement? Yes. Does it have to do with a criminal who is a repeat offender firing a gun and killing a 12-year-old boy who only went to a bodega to buy a ball? Yes, then it's political. And we need to talk about the blowback from the irresponsible policies that we see in these blue cities. We're going to talk about New York. We're going to talk about Seattle. We're going to talk about Germany. And then we're going to talk about France. And you won't believe some of the insanity that came on the heels of these reports. Right, so let's jump into this story.
That shows what happened before that shooting. We paused before the shooting. You see a group of guys in the top left corner fist fighting, before one of them, a man wearing a white shirt, pulls out a gun. You see that 12-year-old boy wearing a black shirt standing over his bike. Once he's shot, he runs inside. You see more surveillance of inside that bodega. He runs past a deli worker and also past a woman. He's holding his chest or his arm. He collapsed inside that bodega. The shooting happened just before 5 p.m. yesterday here, like you mentioned, Michelle, in the Mount Eden section of the Bronx, at the corner of Walton Avenue and Elliott Place. Police say it all started from an argument between those group of men before quickly escalating to 3 people getting shot, including that 12-year-old who was struck in his shoulder. A 34-year-old man was shot in his foot, and a 25-year-old man was shot in his backside. That 12-year-old boy was rushed to Lincoln Hospital where he was pronounced dead. A witness says they heard 5 shots, saw a boy on a bike collapse, and the shooter drive away in a Jeep. Right now, that shooter remains on the loose at this hour. Also, no arrests or suspect information.
So we're just going to go through the stories and the reports that we do have. This is the report following that coming from Fox News.
12-year-old innocent bystander was shot and killed at a New York City bodega over the weekend.
Todd Pyro is here with those details. Hey, Todd.
Senseless tragedy here. Good morning to all 3 of you. We have learned the child was the son of a retired police sergeant who was in Connecticut at the time of the shooting. Officials say the boy simply biked to the bodega to buy a ball when he was hit in the crossfire of what they believe may have been a gang-related shooting. New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch writing in part, quote, "No arrest can ever ease the pain of this unimaginable loss, but the NYPD will continue to do everything in our power to seek justice for Jacob." The victim's uncle telling the New York Post that he had seen his nephew playing just hours earlier, saying, quote, "He was adventurous. He was a free spirit. He was different. He lived on his own terms, and he was only 12. He was a good kid. He's going to be missed." Officials say 2 other people were shot but are expected to be okay. Meanwhile, the suspect has been arrested, and we now know he has a lengthy criminal history with at least half a dozen prior arrests dating all the way back to 1999. There he is, William Ferrer, now being charged on multiple counts, including second-degree murder, first-degree assault, and possession of a weapon in connection with the shooting.
Now, I'm going to talk about this insanity that the left keeps bringing up about gun control, because why is it that whenever a criminal commits a crime with a gun, the first thing that the leftists try to do is to take away guns from people who don't break the law? And this guy is a career criminal, and he's in possession of a firearm. He gets involved in a fight, and then he injures a couple of people, and then kills a 12-year-old.
An investigation into the tragic incident remains ongoing. Back over to you.
Just absolutely heartbreaking. Thank you very much. Okay. Just imagine, 12-year-old kid goes to the neighborhood store to buy a ball. Winds up being in the wrong place at the wrong time, winds up dead.
I know, borrowed his friend's bike.
Covered in the New York Post this morning, where is Mandami? A lot of people are ripping him, in particular, the guy who runs the Bodega Association, and says, so he's got time, as you can see in that inset picture up at the top, to hang out with, I believe those are prisoners at Rikers Island, watching a FIFA game, but he doesn't have time to address this particular situation. The mayor did put out a statement on X, but still, it's all about priorities.
Well, like I always say, based on the evidence, the Democrats feel like their constituents are criminals, sexual deviants, and illegal aliens. And the record continues to write itself. Hickox says, got to be kind to the criminals, says the Democrats. Yeah, like you just saw, he has time to hang out with criminals in Rikers Island. I'm not saying that criminals who are convicted of crimes and are in the process of rehabilitation shouldn't get a second chance. I'm not saying that, but it's obvious. It's obvious that the Democrats have different priorities. All right. Now, here's a video of the guy who shot the kid being essentially, I think he was booked, and here he is being escorted to a vehicle by law enforcement.
Mr. Ferrero, what happened?
Shouldn't let them fight, man. Shouldn't let them fight, man.
He was 12 years old. What happened? What do you want to say to the victim's family? What do you want to say to Jacob's father?
Yeah, so the Democrats essentially won't let this crisis go to waste. Now, there's a video. I had this lined up, a video of Mamdani. Oops, okay, I'm going to just have to skip that. So Mayor Mamdani did leave a statement, but of course, too little, too late, saying how his heart goes out to the family of the little child that got killed. Now, you're going to hear the reaction of the mayor of Seattle, which is, of course, a general sentiment that comes out of the Democrats whenever something like this happens, because whenever there's an incident of gun violence, they always figure out a way to sneak in gun control. Now, this happened in Seattle. Now, Hickox says, as an ex-corrections officer, prisons are no longer punishment or rehabilitation. It's a guarantee-free ride through life. Look, you don't see. There's a video that I saw on X last week, and it was a compilation of criminals getting sentenced, and many of them were essentially celebrating their time heading to incarceration. Like, that's what a lot of them were doing. Okay, like they were simply like, "Hey, you're sending me to jail? No problem." It's almost like a vacation for most of them, because they're going back to their natural element, and most of them have street cred in the prisons. They're simply going in to be treated like royalty. So that is the reality of things back in the correctional the Department of Corrections. OBS. So I have to start this clip over again. I noticed it wasn't connected, so I had to restart.
Good morning to you. There are still indicators of what went on last night. The Bite of Seattle sign that's here. This area was full of families and vendors. They were enjoying their day at the festival when all of a sudden there was gunfire. Everything is frozen in time on the site here right now. The vendor booths, they are empty, still full of food. Everybody went racing out of here, running out of here when they heard the gunfire.
Oh, my God.
Overnight, a frightening scene in Seattle near the city's iconic Space Needle. A gunman opening fire Sunday evening, killing 3 people and injuring 4 others. The moment of the shooting captured in this live stream video.
Get down, get down, get down, get down.
I'm being told that the suspect may have an automatic weapon.
What happened here today at the Seattle Center was an unbelievable tragedy and a horrific act of violence.
Police say just after 6 p.m., fire crews responded to reports of a shooting during the Bite of Seattle Food Festival at Seattle Center.
Anyone have a small child tourniquet size? Small child arm tourniquet.
Vendors set up and families enjoying the evening when gunfire sent crowds running for cover.
I thought it was fireworks.
People sheltering inside of buildings around Seattle Center.
We were trying to run away, once we heard the shots. Everybody kind of just started panicking.
First responders rushing to the festival, attempting to revive 2 of the people who were shot. But both of those victims ultimately declared dead on scene. 4 other people, including a 2-year-old, were transported by firefighters to a local hospital after sustaining injuries. One of them later died.
Wow.
One suspect has been taken into custody. This video appearing to show that arrest. Police say another suspect is still on the loose.
That was also involved that fled the scene, and officers began an active search for that person. We believe that there were 2 people shooting at each other.
As we were trying to flee, we heard whoosh, like a big whoosh, right past our ears, and a bullet landed into the tree that was right next to us.
Ava Hendricks was at the festival with her family when the gunfire erupted.
It was very scary, and after the whole thing was over, and we were just waiting for the police to come, and we were just looking at each other like, how are we still alive? How did we make it through that?
And George, police tell us they still have a lot to figure out today, including finding that second shooter. They think the shooters were firing at one another. We just got an update from police. They say that those who died ranged in age from 19 to 56 years old.
So that was the report. Now, sorry about the technical difficulties. Gardening says, gotta love technology sometimes. Well, sometimes it happens. And sometimes it happens when you stay away for too long. So maybe the tech is simply saying, look, better not, stay away too long. Now, this is something that I wanted to cross-check because I've been in an argument with someone about this whole issue of gun violence. They were asking me questions about Trump as usual. And then they pivoted into gun control. Why do Americans need guns? And, whenever anyone asks me that question, I just know that it's a lost cause. There's no point arguing, but I humored them. And of course, I simply said to them, okay, could they explain to me why in every blue city where they have the strictest gun laws on the books, they still have the highest gun violence crimes? Of course, he proceeded to scream about how it wasn't true and how it was fake news. And I referred him to research on Grok, and bright as day, I was correct. And when this report came down, I simply wanted to be sure because, hey guys, I don't live in Seattle. So I asked the question, is Seattle a blue city? And Grok responded, yes, Seattle is a solidly blue, Democratic-leaning city. And then I asked the question, does Seattle have strict gun control laws? As usual, I'll make this research available to you to query for yourself. Does Seattle have strict gun control laws? And then the response was, yes, Seattle follows relatively strict gun control laws set primarily at the Washington state level. Strong preemption limits most local additions, whatever that means. Now, the key state restrictions include universal background checks, 10-day waiting period, assault weapon or weapon sales or manufacture ban since 2023, high-capacity magazine, less than 10 rounds, sales ban, minimum age of 21 for many purchases, shall issue concealed pistol license, extreme risk protection orders, and all the bells and whistles. All the bells and whistles, spinning chrome wheels of gun control laws. And yet, you still have these kinds of insane incidents taking place in Seattle. Is New York a blue city? Yes, New York is a blue city. And yes, we have this crazy incident taking place. Of course, you have the likes of the mayor of New York and the mayor of Seattle bashing Trump and bashing ICE and saying how, law enforcement or federal law enforcement is illegal, soft on crime policies. And then when things like this happen, oh dear, oh my, I wonder what happened. Oh, it was the guns. The guns are at fault. Now we're going to hear the mayor of Seattle give her press conference, right? She's so that was the Mamdani speech that I had to skip over. Goodness. Now, guys, I don't know what happened to my to my tabs. My tabs got all scrambled up somehow. So I'm going to have to skip through all of them. Goodness, I don't know what happened. Okay, so the mayor of Seattle gave her speech. I'm going to have to find that. Jeez. All right, so the mayor of Seattle gave a speech. And here's what she had to say. This is a 20-minute speech. We're not going to listen to the whole thing. We're just going to listen to a segment of the speech. And of course, right at the very tippy top of the speech, she talks about their pet peeve. Now, Gardening says, if not guns, then knives. If not knives, then cars, etc. They will make a weapon out of anything. However, guns keep our country from becoming like others who can't rise up and are targets. That is very right, Gardening. We're going to be looking at several countries who have those crazy, thou shalt not own a gun policy. I was looking at a city in one country that shall not be named, where there was some violence that took place. Some criminals got a hold of guns, and the person who was reporting, the leader of the city, said that the violence was caused by illegal American guns. I have nothing to say about that stupidity, but let's move on. So here's the mayor. Intergalactic Wrangler is in the chat, and let's see. So here's the mayor of Seattle telling us, in all her wisdom, how she feels about the violence, and you'll hear her bring up, gun control at some point.
Come a little closer, sir, please. A little closer, please. We've got this police line. We cannot cross.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience as we've been working to make sure that we can provide accurate information. I'm sorry that we're having to gather here tonight under these tragic circumstances. What happened here today at the Seattle Center was an unbelievable tragedy and a horrific act of violence. My heart right now is with the victims and their families and with everyone in our community who is reeling from what happened here today. We have far too much gun violence in this city and in this country.
Sorry, stay with your city. Stay with your city, where you have the strictest gun control laws, okay, where you ensure that all of the bells and whistles are applied. Can you explain why, after all of that has been implemented, you still have gun violence in your cities? You still have I've said it many times, and I'm going to just, maybe at the tail end, I'm going to do my soapbox speech. I don't want to do this now, but let's keep listening.
And we're coming off of a week in Seattle where we've had 3 major incidents of gun violence in just a few days.
3?
We have a lot of work to do as a city and as a country to make this.
No. Leave the country out of it. Whenever they do this, they're trying to rope in the Republican states and cities, the red states and cities, into this insanity. It's blue cities and blue states. Stop talking about the country.
I get your passion there, but we need to know what happened tonight, please.
Yes. So our focus right now is with this investigation, with learning what happened so that we can provide accurate information to the public.
In other words, she doesn't know. All right. So let's move. Like, she comes across as like a kindergarten teacher. She comes across like a kindergarten teacher. They elected someone who wanted to run the city with love and kindness and unicorn farts, and they don't know how to run things. They don't. She looks like a deer in the headlights, facing these, like, you can see her blinking quick, like, look at her blinking rapidly.
Reeling from what happened here today.
She looks like she's addressing kindergarten kids. She doesn't know why the kids won't sit down and stop throwing chalk across the room. Now, I'm gonna play this video because this is a video.
Almost 5 hours.
Oh, jeez.
We are almost 5 hours. I'm not mad at you. Oh, I am mad at you.
All right, hold on. I need to refresh this because I need to give you context. All right, so this happened a few minutes, I don't know how long, leading up to the press conference. All right, and here's what happened. Okay, after the shooting, members of the press and other private or independent journalists showed up to actually ask, okay, what happened? We need details. The Seattle cops said that the press conference was delayed because they were waiting for dignitaries. Waste my time trying to remember. She's a Democrat on Capitol Hill who continues to talk about attacking ICE, Trump bad, Trump evil. I guess they needed to wait for her to get on a plane and fly over here for her photo op because of the midterms. All right. Like, you have this kind of, don't let a good crisis go to waste moments. And of course, they keep showing us their true colors.
I'm not mad at you. Oh, I am mad at the dignitaries that are holding up a press conference for the public to get information about a mass shooting outside of the Space Center. It is outrageous that we are being told to wait for dignitaries.
So what I'll do is I'll go back here and we'll get everybody down here. We'll get somebody to talk to you guys. I mean, I do understand, like I said, I do understand. You guys have been out for a while. I've been out for a long time.
It's not us, it's the public that needs to know.
Okay? All right.
Do we have a timeline on when these supposed dignitaries are supposed to be here?
Let's just, what I'll do is let's just get who's here. Let's get them down here.
That's a great idea.
And then what we'll do is, as those dignitaries come, then we'll have them come.
But we need the police first, please.
Who are these so-called dignitaries?
They'll be here.
Who are dignitaries?
So we're being told we're holding for dignitaries.
We're holding for dignitaries. Somebody wants, an elected official wants to make sure that they are on camera.
Yep.
It's all a big show, you're saying?
Is that where the direct quote? Yeah, direct quote. He said we're holding for dignitaries.
Wow.
They are waiting for dignitaries.
So the crisis took place. Okay, so we've seen the news report. I don't want to lay it on thick, okay, but this is a video that was leaked. Okay, one of the I won't call them a victim. They were there when the shooting took place. All right. Now, someone who goes through this kind of trauma sees people get shot, several people died, and then they hear later that the police is waiting on dignitaries before a statement is made about why this kind of craziness happened. And then you hear the stupid statements by the mayor blaming gun violence on gun violence. Essentially, gun violence is blamed on gun violence that's happening all across the country. So here's people running, scared for their lives. All right, so this is not staged. So 3 people die. One of them, I think, is a child. And these people want to make it into a circus. All right, they're waiting for dignitaries to show up so that they can have their moment to have a photo op. I was here. I looked sad. Oh, look at me. I look sad. Ooh. And then because I look sad, you have to listen to me talk about how the whole country has to take away the guns of everyone. That's basically what we're seeing. All right. And it's just a clown show, in my opinion. It's my opinion. Okay, my opinion might not count, but it's my opinion. Now, let's dip over. Okay, so we're going to have a talk. Okay, guys, just let me know your thoughts in the chat now. Let's talk about the absolute insanity of what happened in Germany. In Germany, there was the Pride parade. I want to apologize to you guys because for a few days now, I haven't wished you happy. I haven't wished you a happy American Pride Month. July is American Pride Month. And I don't know why this past weekend, there were Pride marches. At least there was a Pride march in the city where I live. There was a Pride march in Germany and other parts of the world. I thought June was the month where all of that was meant to happen. Well, I guess they want to expand it into other months as well. So they had a Pride march in July. And then in Germany, there was a report that a vehicle, usually they start with a vehicle plowed through the crowd. They didn't want to talk about the person who was driving the vehicle. A vehicle, an autonomous vehicle plowed through the crowd. But of course, when it sounds stupid to them, it's like, okay, we have to talk about the person who was driving the vehicle. An unknown driver plowed through the crowd. And then they're like, okay, so what's his ethnicity? What's his race? And they held back, saying or giving out the details. They held it back like a bad watery fart. Like they held it back as much as they could. And then finally they had to say, well, it's an immigrant Muslim. To show you the absolute insanity of this position, and I don't know if I'm sounding like I'm jumping all over the place. I'm trying to say as much as I can, in as little time as possible. But the absolute insanity is the people who are marching in those parades believe that Europe and the West should open up its doors to unfettered, unchecked immigration and allow people from countries like the country where this person who plowed through the crowd at this Pride March, killing people, they want more people like that to come in because the West doesn't understand them, or because it's the fault of the West that they hate the West so much. So let them in. So during one of the rallies that they had, a vigil in Berlin, an LGBTQ activist spoke and said this after the Islamist car ramming attack against the Pride Parade. All right, now I'm going to play this and I'm going to read you the interpretation of what she said. Okay, so here she is. She's being very, somber. She's being very, very put together and saying, "Oh my goodness, it's so sad." Okay, but here's what she has to say about what they expected to hear about the person who plowed through the Pride Parade.
Diese Nachrichten zu bekommen, dass beim CSD ein Auto reingerast ist, ein Mann in einem Auto. Und was auch für mich schockierend war, ist, dass das Erste, was ich gedacht habe, war, hoffentlich ist es kein Kanake, hoffentlich ist es eine christliche weiße Person, aber es war es nicht. Und da zeigt sich dann wieder Intersektionalität. Wir kämpfen nicht alle die gleichen Kämpfe, aber wir sind füreinander da in Momenten wie diesen. And that's beautiful.
All right, so if you don't speak German, what she said was, I had hoped that the attacker was not a foreigner, but a white Christian person. That's what we're told she said. She was hoping that it wasn't one of these people that were let into the country either illegally or without any background checks, who worship a certain way that isn't part of the native religion of Europe, which is Christianity. But they wished it was one of the skinheads, it was one of the white people, it was one of the racist white people. They were hoping very much that it was one of the people they continue to claim are violent racists, but it wasn't. It was one of the people they've been asking to be let into the country through unfettered immigration. Now, Steven Crowder had this to say. I'll just play it real quick.
You go, they're trying to keep us fighting, man. I really hope it's a white Christian. Yeah. And then you go, well, it's someone who follows a religion that commands for the killing of, let's not use this to divide, man. Please be a white Christian. So whenever someone says, come on, let's find common ground, what they're really doing is trying to trick you. They're trying to lull you into a state of complacency. They're trying to get you to submit to their will and worldview, as opposed to the other way around. There is no common ground when it's a black or white decision. The religion of Islam that commands the subjugation and killing of anyone who doesn't play ball, or you reject it. You don't tolerate it. There's no common ground on that. But you hear that, we don't want this to be used to turn anyone against each other.
Well, while they try to use it to turn everyone against each other. So she was saying it in response to the video that we just played. Now, this is the craziness. This is the craziness that we see happening all over the place. And I'm trying really hard not to make this like a political football where it's like, oh, see, you guys are letting in all of these people who hate you and so on and so on and so on. Hey, Tony, good to see you in the chat. And when you look at it's unfortunate that we live in a world where people have chosen to deny reality. You see a religion that actively calls for the murder and takeover of Christian nations. And you're like, oh no, you're misunderstanding them. The liberals' prayer, I like this comment. It says that didn't happen. And if it did happen, it wasn't a Muslim. And if it was a Muslim, it wasn't a real Muslim. And if it was a real Muslim, his religion wasn't a factor. And if it was a factor, you deserved it, white people. And meanwhile, let more of them in. This other meme here says, Muslims and alphabet community in the West be like, I hate Christians. And then the liberal says, oh my God, me too. That means we're similar because we are both minorities, right? Right. It's funny, but tragic at the same time, because this is what they're doing. All right. You have the chickens protesting on behalf of KFC. We want KFC. We want KFC. And they're surprised when they're the ones that wind up in the bowl. Is this a we hate Muslims podcast? No, it's not. It's a reality check that when things like this happen in the West, the crime has to be called out, clearly spelled out. Everyone needs to know what happened and why it happened. For example, in France, and this is the last video. The rest of it, I'll see if I can do a standalone video and publish that later today. In France, you have this story that developed from this morning. 3 women were stabbed in Paris, and the suspect reportedly claimed he had been ordered by Allah to carry out the attack. Authorities are investigating the incident. All right, so we're going to watch this, and I think there's no sound, I think. So that's the guy running around the city with 2 knives. Of course, the unarmed plebs who have been disarmed by their government are running. They're running. When
c'est pas ce qu'il fait. C'est avec qui va redonner. Il n'y a pas d'alarme. Voilà, faut le piétiner.
So he was finally disarmed.
Non, mais il est malade. Bouge pas. Malade, ça veut rien dire.
Là, t'es plan des gens.
Il a piqué la fille ici.
C'est bon, c'est bon, c'est bon.
La fille est couchée là-bas.
So he's been detained, and I have this report coming from Ground News. A man attacked 3 people using 2 knives in Paris on Monday, according to the Paris police prefecture. The incident occurred at 9:30 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time in the Port Clichy area. Following the assault, French authorities reported the suspect was arrested quickly by an off-duty officer. The suspect remains in custody while investigations continue. Nothing about what he chanted or screamed while he committed the crime. Paramedics treated 3 victims at the scene and transported them to the hospital. Police added Interior Minister Laurent Nunez noted 2 of the 3 women were severely injured. The attack took place in the Port Clichy area, a busy district of Paris. Authorities have provided no additional details regarding the status or identities of those injured. Paris Police Prefecture officials confirmed they are actively investigating the incident. Authorities have not released information regarding potential motives of the attack. That is the narrative that you're going to continue to hear. You're going to continue to hear things like this. Oh, we don't know why this happened, or the motives are unclear, or it was the guns that committed the crime, or it was the van that committed the crime. Okay, so a lot happened over the weekend, and we're just trying to catch up. Meanwhile, of course, we know that the bombings in Iran took a break. There was a break from the bombings in Iran because President Trump is making room for negotiations as usual. And of course, we know how that goes. They'll negotiate. Iranians will agree to terms and then turn around and say they didn't agree to the terms. And then they fire off some rockets at some ships. And then we're back at this all over again. All right. We've seen this play out. And I guess we're just going to continue to see this insanity play out. Why? Because you have a government that essentially has been cowed into just being cowards and lily-livered, and they just want to sit back and hope that the world decides that they're going to behave. It's either that, or you have these people who really know how the world works, how these people operate, how they want to destroy America. But for political reasons, they want to continue to hamstring the Trump administration and make it look like the Trump administration doesn't know what it's doing. Okay, so we have a few minutes to the hour. I want to play this report, and we'll talk about the Iran situation very quickly.
Good morning to you. After carrying out a series of attacks on Iran for nearly 2 weeks every night in a row, and also warning of a massive attack, sources tell me this morning that President Trump is now putting off a major escalation in Iran to give way for diplomacy to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. I'm told President Trump was prepared to launch a series of strikes on Friday, but decided to hold off. Sources also say officials discussed the impact a major attack could have on the U.S.'s depleting stock of air defense interceptors. The Trump administration is pushing back on that. Mike Waltz, the president's ambassador to the UN, appeared to acknowledge a lot of stockpiles have been depleted, but also said the U.S. has everything that it needs to carry out its campaign against Iran. And of course, officials are stressing that while the president wants to continue with diplomacy, he always reserves the option to put military action back on the table, as he has done before, George.
And Rachel, the Trump administration is sowing some confusion with how it reports deaths in this war.
Yes, the Pentagon has changed its process for how it is publicly reporting deaths during this war with Iran. So those 4 American service members who were recently killed are no longer listed on the Pentagon's website in the Iran death toll. Instead, they've been placed in a new category, generically named Overseas Operations Casualties. It comes amid criticism that the Trump administration lowered the death toll and amid questions about how it was properly counting the impact of this war, George.
So George Snuffleupagus, I know it's Stephanopoulos, okay, but George Snuffleupagus decides that after getting the read on Trump's move towards diplomacy, because they're like, he's a warmonger, and then he's going for diplomacy. Well, how about this thing where they're recategorizing the killing of American service members on the Pentagon website? How about that? Aren't they trying to hide something? Like, it's always about trying to make the Trump administration look bad. These people protected the Obama administration like I don't know, like I am at a loss of adjectives to use, because they simply didn't allow any negative press to go out about the Obama administration. But for the Trump administration, they go in there with a microscope, with an electron microscope, to find the slightest deviation to say, look, the Trump administration is doing something dishonest here, and we all have to see it. Well, let's ask the question that they're talking about here. All right. They claim that the Trump administration is trying to downplay the impact of the conflict with Iran, which is a fair question. it's a fair question. Why is the Trump administration doing that? I don't know. Maybe there's a difference between people who are in the theater of war and people who essentially are attacked in a country that isn't part of the conflict and suddenly they are killed. I don't know. But I did post a question. I need to see if I still have this history. I posted a question. Excuse me. So I posted a question based on this report by ABC, Good Morning America. So they essentially said, okay, the Trump administration is trying to downplay the number of casualties in this conflict. And guys, if you've been following what I've been saying for the last few months, this conflict has been going on for over 47 years. So they're trying to claim that, okay, the conflict started in March. No, it didn't. It started 47 years ago. And so I asked Grok, based on publicly available records, how many Americans, civilian and service members have been killed by Iran or Iranian proxies since 1979 compared to how many have been killed as a result of the current conflict in 2026 with Iran? And the response is, since 1979, Iran and its proxies have been linked to roughly 1,000 or more American deaths, civilian and military, vastly outnumbering the approximately 18 U.S. service members killed in the 2026 direct conflict. They don't talk about this. Now, guys, again, we have to caveat all of this because of people who clip these things out of context or YouTube AI that might essentially want to use the words that we say on this live stream to limit the reach of the video. We have to say this. We don't condone violence. We don't like war. But when you have someone that's actively hostile to your interests across the world, where your citizens are not safe in certain countries because their operatives target your citizens or your service members or your embassies, it means that you're on a war footing with another country. You might want to pretend like that doesn't exist, but it's happening. And the Democrats have shown for years that they are aware that the United States has been on a war footing with Iran, because you have Republicans and Democratic presidential candidates repeatedly talking about how Iran was a danger. It was said for years. It was understood for years. And yet you had Democrats in 2026 pretending like Iran was never a problem. They would go on shows and say how Iran was not a threat. So it's frustrating, yes, but it's always good to allow them to talk and let us know what they think. All right? The numbers are clear. I'm going to be sharing the links in the chat. Let me just do that right away. I'm going to share the links in the chat so that you guys have it for yourselves. All right. Hickox is back from doing yard work. So today we will not be activating the call in for several reasons. One, I'm trying to catch up on the news. Two, I am restarting the VODs on the main channel. So now we're going to be live streaming exclusively on the live stream channel, and then the VODs are going to be going out on the VOD channel starting hopefully tomorrow. I'm quite behind on the video that's meant to go out tomorrow. If it doesn't go out tomorrow, maybe it will be released on Thursday. But we're switching out the schedule. We're going to be starting our live streams at 2 p.m. Eastern. So that's a change in schedule and a change in the multi-stream options that we have. I do want to say that we will possibly figure out a way to live stream once on the main channel, but the type of content or the or the show will be designed exclusively for the main channel. There's going to be a show that will have to be created for the main channel that is compatible with the content that is created on the main channel. So over the weekend, it's been, we had high temperatures here too. Hickok says that it's hot out there. It's been hot here as well, and the heat is one of the reasons why we decided to start live streaming earlier in the day, but we had to move it for several reasons. The early morning was a bit stressful for me on this front, and also it's not the best time to live stream for either channel, whether it's the main channel or the live stream channel. It wasn't the best time. So for this live stream, we've had some struggles with with our tech. The live stream has disconnected several times already, and it's been distracting. But we're going to just keep doing what we're doing. I want to say thank you to everyone who joined up. We're going to be. I will let you know when the call-in feature is reactivated. Possibly we might have it back on tomorrow, and then maybe we'll have our panel join the show. So as always, we have Intergalactic Wrangler, we have Gardening, we have Hickox, and we have Tony in the chat, as always, keeping the chat warm and keeping the conversation going. Guys, I want to say how much I thank you, and I'm grateful to you guys for showing up every single time we go live. It's a blessing to have you guys on the team, and I want to say thank you once again, as always. And we're going to continue to provide you with the honest takes on these stories. The nature of the stories that we cover tends to be dictated by possibly what is trending. Okay, the stories that are out there. We don't want to ignore the stories that are out there. We want to address them and talk about them, and be sure that we're being honest about our opinions on the story as much as we can be. But I would love to be able to do other feel-good stories eventually. But honestly, if we ignored the fact that these things happened and we looked for other things that were lighthearted, personally, I wouldn't feel right about it, because these are real things that are happening. It's almost like, to me, it would feel like the band on the Titanic playing a jig while the ship was going down. If what we do is focus on feel-good stories, let's not look at all of these obvious things that are going on. Let's look at the feel-good stories. The video I'm working on right now revealed a few things that I knew were happening, but I didn't know that they were, so blatant in the political landscape. For example, sorry, I'm getting a DM from Hickox telling me something about the captions. Sorry, Hickox, I'm telling on you right here. And you can connect with me in the DMs too if you join the Discord server. So I'm just throwing it out there. If you want to be able to give me live feedback, I would love to see you guys. I would love to see you guys. Oh, okay. You're talking about the Elon encounter. Look, maybe tomorrow we'll talk about that comedy show that was the Economist having an interview with Elon. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. Maybe we'll just focus on that tomorrow. So what do you guys think? Because that interview, and I'm going to be careful about what we cover or how much we cover, because I found out that certain news outlets are very jealous for their content. If you try to cover them the way we cover outlets like ABC and Fox, you might find yourself staring down the barrel of a copyright claim. So we're going to have to be mindful of some of these realities. Okay, so guys, I want to say thank you. As always, you guys are amazing. I want to call it a day, get back to trying to produce the new video, and hopefully we can have a better show tomorrow. Tonight, well, this afternoon was weird with all of the interruptions in the signals. I don't know what happened, but we're going to figure it out. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.